DJ Storms! And I would like to welcome all of you back here to the channel right here on YouTube.com, as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. I am the top of the line in wrestling analytics, and this is the Lightning Flash Update Part 1 for Friday, August 17th, 2018. And yes, you heard me correctly, Part 1. I had to split the Lightning Flash Update in two this week specifically because there is a lot going into this weekend's two events, actually. I was just about to say SummerSlam, but there's a lot to go into this weekend's events. I'm talking about TakeOver and SummerSlam. There was a lot to go over on all of the weekly shows, and there's a lot of news, rumors, and reports to cover. So tomorrow before I head to Brooklyn, you can expect the Lightning Flash Update Part 2 with the news, rumors, and reports. This one is just going to be the weekly show reviews. And then later today, most likely around the late evening, I'm going to be putting up the rundown for SummerSlam 2018. I've been posting videos like mad. I've been working at my job like mad this week. So, you know, it's all in preparation for Brooklyn. I've been gaining a lot of money to spend on items in Brooklyn. I've been making a lot of videos. As you saw yesterday, it was a pit stop for me and Thunder on the way to Brooklyn for NXT TakeOver. I also posted the second ever Eye of the Storm wrestling interview show with former WCW and WWE superstar Christopher Ford, also known as Crowbar. That will be in the description, as well as the rundown for NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. I'm kind of doing things a little backwards here. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at TheDJStorms. Do not forget to check out the rundown for SummerSlam later today. And then the Lightning Flash Update Part 2 tomorrow. I will be in Brooklyn. So if you want to come up, say hi to me, you can. I will be hosting some on-site fan interviews where 4 lucky fans will get to be on my channel. And I will post the interview separately. I'll also be making live reaction videos from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I have camera side seats, and I'll be wearing the DJ Storms official t-shirt. So if you want to come say hi to me, like I said, feel free to. I'm easy going. Let's get into the weekly show reviews, and again, this will be only the weekly show reviews. Monday Night Raw. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that it was one of the worst. It was bad. No doubt it was bad. It had a few little positives sprinkled in here and there, but the overall show of Monday Night Raw sucked. Rousey kicked off the show. She paid tribute to Natalya's father, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Rest in peace, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. She says that father figures are a pillar of strength, and the fathers of today raise their children to be the pillars of strength when the fathers have deceased. She said that she will beat Alexa at SummerSlam. Bliss comes out and says SummerSlam will be Ronda's humiliation. I don't know what the hell Alicia Fox was wearing. She comes out, it's like she has kale on her head. I mean, it's like she was Poison Ivy from a Batman series or some shit like that. But anyway, Alexa hired security, Ronda took out the security, and then we had Bliss versus Ember, which was actually turning into a decent match. I'm not going to lie. That's only because Ember was carrying Alexa Bliss through that match like a baby. This ended up ending in a disqualification when Fox interfered, and then Fox was taken out by Rousey. Obviously, this is leading toward Alexa and Ronda at SummerSlam. Baron Corbin defeated Tyler Breeze. That was that. Then we had Braun Strowman and Finn Balor defeating Jinder Mahal and Kevin Owens. It was originally scheduled to be a handicap match, and then Kurt Angle made it a tag team match. Now, for what it was a good match, but I didn't care. I mean, why are we going to care about a match like this when we've seen different variations of it over the course of the entire summer? And on top of that, nobody is truly invested in the matches that we got going on at SummerSlam, minus Jinder Mahal, because, Jinder Mahal's not in a match at SummerSlam, thank God. Afterwards, Corbin attacked Balor. Obviously, that's leading to their match. I mean, I'm kind of just breezing through Raw because I don't really want to talk about it. Aside from Raw, everything else was pretty decent, but Monday Night Raw, it was meaningless. Elias had a segment with a country music schmuck, and they were talking about Bobby Lashley, and this schmuck was talking about how Elias is his hero. And then Lashley came out and just delivered a spine buster to this guy's name. I believe this guy's name was Ricky Roberts, if I'm not mistaken. Thankfully, this is not on SummerSlam's card, and Elias is just performing, but we all know Lashley is going to interrupt, and Lashley's going to continue this whole feud, quote-unquote, with Elias. I mean, they haven't even had a single match in this feud, if you even want to call it that. I call it filler. We had the triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team titles with the B Team, the Revival, and the Deleters of Worlds. This was a good match for what it was. I'm not going to take anything away from that. However, the wrong people walked away victorious. You had an easy out. You had an easy out to give the Revival the titles, and then you could have given us the rematch with the B Team on the pre-show, but with the Revival being champions, and then you could have had the Revival go over. Now, most likely the Revival are going to win at SummerSlam, because later in the night it was announced that on the SummerSlam kickoff, it's going to be the B Team versus the Revival for the titles. But then we got to get another match out of these two teams. We have to get a third match out of these two teams. No one wants to see a third match out of these two teams. The B Team has become a complete joke with this circus-like theme music. I mean, it's just stupid. Hardy and Wyatt, I know that they got talent, but they've been booked so poorly since they won the titles. The Revival, this was supposed to be their big break. They did not get it. Towards the end of the match, there was a superplex to the outside, and then we had a Shadow Machine to Bray. Curtis Axel made the blind tag, and Curtis Axel got the sneaky win. So hopefully the Revival just takes the titles from the B Team, because the B Team, they aren't really doing anything to enhance the Raw Tag Team division or the titles. If you're wondering why I'm taking a sip of my water, you could pretty much decipher what happened after that match. Surprise, surprise. Roman Reigns comes out and he continues to ramble and rave about how he's going to beat Brock Lesnar, and the same thing that we've been hearing for the past 6 months with this whole feud, and they had to put it on pause because Lesnar was going on vacation after the Greatest Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns, blah, 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 blah. Heyman comes out. Heyman actually wanted to be Roman's advocate. Now, this was actually interesting. I didn't think they were going to go ahead with this route, mainly because of the fact that Strowman's lurking in the background, and if Strowman doesn't cash in at SummerSlam, then what would be the proper time to cash in? There really is no perfect time for Strowman to cash in than right now. Strowman should have won the Universal Championship a year ago at No Mercy. I don't know why they didn't give him the title then. But Heyman wanted Roman to hire him as his advocate. Roman denied him, and then Heyman just pepper sprayed Roman. I was actually surfing Twitter and the internet in general, and I stumbled along some articles saying that it was real pepper spray. Now, I'm not sure if that's true, because I doubt that, anyone would put any superstar through that kind of legitimate punishment willingly. So, I don't believe that for a second. But Roman was blinded. Lesnar comes out unannounced. He was not announced to be on the show. He then took out Roman with a forward guillotine choke, went back and hit him with the F5 with the crowd chanting one more time. So you can imagine how Brooklyn is going to react when Roman comes out, and we're going to have this match with Roman and Lesnar. And supposedly, I heard that it's going to be somewhere along the lines of what Goldberg and Lesnar did at Survivor Series, and it's going to be a squash with Roman Reigns going over. Though I doubt Lesnar is going to succumb to that, because Lesnar, this is one of the few cases where I'm happy that Lesnar is almost kind of a douche, because If he refuses to do that for Roman and we're going to get what we got at WrestleMania, then, it's only going to prove the people like me right. I mean, like, when am I not right? But regardless, that was that. We had a filler 6-man tag match. Bobby Roode and Titus Worldwide defeated the Authors of Pain and Mojo Rawley. I didn't care about that. We had a Jim the Anvil Neidhart tribute. Like I said, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, he was a true tag team specialist. He was a very charismatic dude. They were going on about him and Brett and the famous Hart Dynasty and the Hart Foundation. Jim the Anvil Neidhart, it really is sad that he had to die at 63. I know about losing someone at a young age because my grandfather actually died around the same age as Jim the Anvil Neidhart, because my grandfather was only about like 61, 62. Jim the Anvil Neidhart died from, I believe, the early stages of Alzheimer's, and then he fell at his home. My grandfather died from cancer, so, I can relate to Natalia. I hope Natalia is okay. I hope that her family has all the love, all the support, and all the strength to make it through this difficult time. After that, we had a decent match with Ruby Riott and Sasha Banks. I feel like they were holding back just a little bit, but it was decent for what it was, and Ruby Riott got the win. I actually thought Ruby Riott was going to be out hell of a lot longer than they originally thought. But, Ruby Riott came back early. I mean, I have no problem. I like Ruby Riott. But again, they aren't really doing these two women any favors because they are not in the Women's Championship match. Why does Alexa Bliss have to go back in that position? Why couldn't it have been Ember Moon and Sasha Banks, or Ember Moon and Ruby Riott? Ronda doesn't need the title now. You could have easily had Ember win the briefcase. Ember would have cashed in successfully. She would have gone up against the heel Sasha Banks or heel Ruby Riott at SummerSlam, and you could have waited until Royal Rumble for Ronda to win the title. I mean, I have no problem with Ronda Rousey. She is quickly becoming one of my favorites. But, honestly, what has she even done? She's had 3 matches, and ultimately, they've resulted in nothing but Ronda looking good in the end. And on top of that, there's much more deserving people. Ember Moon has only had 1 legitimate loss since she came up. It was against Sarah Logan, but you know what I'm talking about. She only has 1 legitimate loss. She has a great record on Monday Night Raw. Why isn't she in the Raw Women's Championship title picture? Why do we have to have the Boston Hug connection? And why is Ruby Riott still being regulated to the Riott Squad? Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, they need to go back to NXT. We had the IC title contract signing with McIntyre and Ziggler and Rollins. They were trashing Rollins. Ziggler was actually cutting a great promo. Ziggler, he is very underrated when it comes to his promo work. Ziggler really creates tension, and he really makes you believe in what he's saying. Mainly because Ziggler is in a different point in his career with McIntyre where he feels as though he needs to step up his game. And, they're doing a pretty good job with it, if I do say so myself. This was really the only segment that was worth going back and watching, even if some of the matches were decent. Rollins comes out, and Dean Ambrose is back. Dean Ambrose will be in Seth Rollins' corner for SummerSlam. And you know what? Let me address this. When it comes to SmackDown, I am invested in every single match that we got going on SmackDown. Even down to the mixed tag team match with Rusev, Lana, Zelina Vega, and Andrade. You know how many matches I'm invested in on Raw's side? 1. Only 1. And that's the IC title match with Ziggler and Rollins. And it's not because of who's in that match. It's not because of Ziggler and Rollins, though they are great athletes, and though they have the potential of putting on a great match, which I think they will. That's not why I'm invested in it. The only reason I'm invested in it now is because Dean Ambrose is back, and we could get a potential heel turn. Someone who's not even on SummerSlam's card, someone who just came back, has intrigued my interest for Rollins and Ziggler. That's the only reason why I'm intrigued by that. And, I would still be intrigued by it even if Ambrose wasn't booked because it still had the potential of Dean Ambrose coming back. But regardless, we're going to move on from that. SmackDown Live. Carmella, Charlotte, and Becky kicked off the show. I mean, this was really a nothing segment that led to another tag team match. with Becky and Charlotte defeating Rose and Deville. It was a decent match, but ultimately, this didn't really do anything. Charlotte actually spoke the truth. Carmella tried to act all cool and embrace it, but Charlotte spoke the truth. Carmella is a diva living in a women's era. Amen to that. I mean, she can't wrestle. She can't cut good promos. She has go-away heat. Carmella should not have even been anywhere near the championship. Now, I am now wishing that those rumors of Carmella cashing in unsuccessfully, I wish they would have come true. Because she hasn't done anything good since she won the title in that cash-in. The Bludgeon Brothers defeated a jobber crew called the Triple Threat. Well, they didn't really defeat him. The match never got started. It was just a bludgeoning, no pun intended. We had Miz versus Bryan promo packages dating back to the stuff in NXT, and this was phenomenal stuff. It was taking us through the history that they've had together, saying that, when Bryan retired, it was so hard for him, and then he saw The Miz on Talking Smack in that infamous segment, and The Miz is pissed off that Bryan called him soft, and then we had Daniel Bryan coming back from injury, Miz saying, oh yeah, great, Daniel Bryan came back from injury, I don't care, I was doing big things as the Intercontinental Champion, I was bigger than he ever was. The back and forth stuff, the tension between these two have reached its boiling point, and if there's any match that I think is going to steal SummerSlam's show, it's The Miz versus Daniel Bryan. This is not too soon. This is a perfect time to start building. Then you can have Bryan win at SummerSlam. Miz wins at Hell in a Cell, takes Bryan off of TV storyline-wise. Miz wins the title. Bryan makes his return at the Royal Rumble and wins the Rumble. We get Bryan versus Miz for the title at WrestleMania. This is a perfect time to start building because you can stem it from August all the way to next April at WrestleMania. We had New Day versus Sanity. Why does Sanity keep losing so much? I mean, you brought him up from NXT just to have him job out to the New Day. And why did you put Killian Dane in a Big Show singlet? Is this the same thing that you were doing with Kevin Owens when he was competing in a suit, or when he came out in a suit, just because you don't like the fact that he doesn't fit the mold of that 6'5" jacked superstar? That was definitely a Vince McMahon move. Now, it was a good match. I'm not going to deny that. There was some innovative spots in the match, but ultimately, Sanity is being portrayed like a jobber stable. They're being portrayed like a jobber stable, like the social outcast. They're being portrayed as if they're just there to lose. When is Sanity going to get the opportunities that they deserve? Why didn't they go to fight the Bludgeon Brothers at SummerSlam? That would have been a very interesting match. Regardless, I think the New Day and the Bludgeon Brothers, it's going to be a good match, but ultimately, why did you have to sacrifice Sanity just to get the New Day to face the Bludgeon Brothers? Why didn't we get New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers at Extreme Rules instead of Team Hell No? Then we could have gotten Sanity versus the Bludgeon Brothers at SummerSlam. There was a promo with Joe and Paige in the back, and Joe said he will do whatever he damn well pleases right in Paige's face. So, Samoa Joe doing what Samoa Joe does best. Just wearing the suit, looking nice and snappy, just oozing cockiness and confidence, doing what Samoa Joe loves to do. I'm loving Samoa Joe. Andrade Cien Almas defeated Aiden English. This was actually a quick match. It was quick, it was fast, it was fast-paced. Andrade won. They started to trash Rusev and Lana afterwards. Rusev and Lana then came out. This was the final hype for their mixed tag match on SummerSlam's kickoff. I think it should be a good match. Jeff Hardy defeated Shelton Benjamin. Decent match for what it was. Nakamura attacked, but Hardy hit the Swanton as Orton was watching from behind the stage from afar. And that visual of Orton just creeping around was actually pretty cool. I actually have some news on Orton that leaked earlier this week. AJ Styles made his SummerSlam promise to make sure Joe suffers. Then Joe came out, and he read a letter, and I had a feeling he might have done it, but I didn't know for sure. He was reading the letter, and in the end, I thought he was going to say Wendy Styles, and sure enough, he did. He was saying about, I wish to have my dad back. Sincerely, Wendy Styles. How can you not love Samoa Joe? If you don't love Samoa Joe at this rate, I don't know what to tell you. But it was a decent episode. Not the best. Certainly not the worst. It had a lot of flaws, but again, this is WWE main roster. There's going to be flaws spread throughout the program. 205 Live actually did not have any flaws, though. Surprise, surprise, it's being run by Triple H. Lio Rush defeated Akira Tozawa. This was a damn good match. It was fast-paced. It was furious, back and forth. Akira Tozawa actually got a lot of offense in this one, but ultimately Lio Rush won with the final hour. That beautiful frog splash that looks brutal. The impact on the final hour is something that I would not like to feel myself. I think I would probably get the wind knocked out of me and I wouldn't be able to breathe right. Damn good match for what it was. Lio Rush defeated Akira Tozawa. Lio Rush is moving up sooner rather than later. He's moving up in the world. We had 2 promo packages for Drew Gulak and Cedric Alexander, and I like the fact that they've been promoting them in the gym and their past accolades with wins over the likes of the Lucha House Party and, Buddy Murphy with Cedric Alexander and Hideo Itami. I like that they're doing that. I like that they're, tapping into their past, showing their 2 different paths, ultimately to collide at SummerSlam. I guarantee you, this match is going to be better than 60% of SummerSlam's card. Drake Maverick stated that Ali is suffering from full exhaustion, and he will make a speedy recovery, but he is not allowed to compete on 205 Live until he is fully healed. Hideo Itami defeated a jobber. Afterwards, Hideo attacked him after the match. He actually defeated the jobber by a technical knockout. And I told you that Ali and Hideo, they're going to be busy for a while. And this feud is going to stem possibly till October, while Drew Gulak is Cruiserweight Champion, and then Ali will be the one to take the title off of Gulak. Murphy and Tony Nese were notified that next week it's going to be them versus the Lucha House Party in a tornado tag match. So if the Lucha House Party versus Hideo and Tozawa was good, this one could be even better. We also got Noam Dar versus TJP next week. And then the main event was Cedric Alexander defeating Jack Gallagher. This will fall under the radar as one of the most underrated matches of the month. This right here, this showed you how Jack Gallagher is extremely underrated. He still got it. Shows you how good Cedric is. This was a great match all around. The crowd was much better. In North Carolina. Surprisingly, it was Cedric's hometown. They went back and forth. You had Cedric doing what Cedric does best, flying around. He hit the neuralizer. Near the end, Jack hit the gentleman's dropkick, but Cedric got his foot on the ropes. In the end, Cedric won with the Queen's Crossing, that Spanish fly, ultimately to be attacked by Kendrick, but he fought off both Kendrick and Gallagher. Gulak then came out of nowhere, locked him in the Gulak, and solidified him as a legit threat, and I think that Drew Gulak will be the one to take that title off of Cedric. Cedric had a good run with it, but it is time for Gulak to institute the plans for a better 205 Live. NXT was actually a decent episode as well. We had the final build towards NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, which I will be at. The Street Profits defeated the Mighty. This was a decent match for what it was. It was competitive. The Mighty, I'm really liking the Mighty now that they've turned heel. I really thought they would have been better as baby faces, but the fact that they're coming in with these leather black jackets and the black and white and gray trunks, it's good. It really adds to their character. The Street Profits ended up winning with a roll-up with the tights by Montez Ford. So, turnabout is fair play, as Mauro Ranallo said. I think we're going to see a rubber match down the line between these two. And maybe the Street Profits get into the NXT Tag Team title hunt, maybe after the War Raiders win it at NXT TakeOver War Games. Undisputed Era had a promo, just bashing the competition like they always do. Kairi Sane defeated Aaliyah. Now, the key portion of this match was the fact that Shayna Baszler was saying on commentary that Kairi Sane lacks killer instinct, but in the ring, Kairi delivered 3 insane elbow drops and then hooked in the anchor that almost modified sharpshooter submission hold, and she stretched all the way back with her head hanging upside down, pointing at Shayna Baszler when Aaliyah tapped out. So, this match, I guarantee you, this match is going to have a lot of hype around it, and I think it's going to live up to it. It's going to have a lot of intensity, and I think Kairi Sane is going to become that new NXT Women's Champion. Velveteen Dream and EC3 had a promo, and Velveteen Dream started off before EC3 came out, and EC3 goes, "So this is what it's like when doves cry." And then he got the crowd to chant "Doves Cry." He goes, "Sick fanny pack, by the way." The crowd was chanting "Fanny pack." Then he goes, "I know what you're trying to do. Don't. Because I live in people's heads. I build condos in people's heads." And EC3 says he's going to finally turn this whole facade with Velveteen Dream into a profit, and he's going to rank up a victory at TakeOver. A brawl started out, and EC3 stood tall after he hit the 1%er, that fireman's carry cutter, to Velveteen Dream. And I think EC3 is going to get the win. And this could very well be one of the best matches of the year or one of the most underrated matches of the year, because these two can wrestle. These two can go, and I think that we're going to get a stellar match at TakeOver. They provided news on Aleister Black, and we had a lot of suspects. We had Sullivan, we had Ciampa, we had Gargano, we had the Undisputed Era, we had Cassius Ohno, we had everyone in there. So, interesting to see how they play off that angle with Aleister Black, and when he comes back, I would like to see what they do with him. Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson next week. So, I'm seeing Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson as well as everything else on TakeOver's card, because we all know that they pre-tape the matches before they air next week. So, we're getting a rematch from that UK special. This should be a damn good match. And in the main event, we had a good match for what it was. It was a good, quick match between Tyler Bate and Roderick Strong. Tyler Bate won, and that was the final hype for the tag team title match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. And ladies and gentlemen, that has been part 1 of the Lightning Flash Update. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Like us in the beginning, like, comment, subscribe, and do all that other stuff. Shout out to Tommy McGrogan and my boys at Wrestling Express. Follow them on Twitter at WExpressNation, and join the group, not the fan page, for Wrestling Express on Facebook. I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update, and I will see you later today for the rundown for SummerSlam.